Good morning, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, to this morning's debate and discussion on the subject of motivating and engaging students. I'm afraid this morning you've been shortchanged in your chairperson, given that I'm not, as you can see, Dr. Anthony Selden, the headmaster of Wellington College, one of the more expensive and respected private education establishments in England. For me, as a replacement, a dropout from a comprehensive secondary school from Bletchley in England. But there you go, perhaps that tells you everything you need to know about the difference between the state sector and the private sector. At least I had the manners to show up. But for the record, my name is Graham Brown-Martin and I'm the founder of Learning Without Frontiers. Of course, motivating and engaging learners is at the very core of what being a teacher is all about. Part of the art of teaching, if you will, or at least that is what we would like to believe, and it's certainly what the press release says. However, the reality is somewhat different. To quote the late Malcolm McLaren, manager of the Sex Pistols and godfather of the 1970s punk movement, in his final speech given to an audience of educators before he passed away in 2010, he said, "We live in a culture where it is cool to be stupid, and perhaps nowhere more so in the Anglo-centric West." This surely represents a challenge to anyone with an interest in the education of our young people, fed on a diet of celebrity, reality TV, and X-Factor culture that celebrates passivity and consumption. Why bother learning to be a scientist, an engineer, a doctor, or any trade for that matter, when you can just as easily marry a footballer, expose yourself on reality TV, or be a karaoke superstar on primetime television? However, it would be too easy to simply blame the media for this malaise and global unconsciousness when media, like education and politics, is merely another superstructure supporting and legitimizing the underlying economic foundation of our society. And I must take issue with Kirsty Lang's opening comment yesterday morning when she linked the recent riots in London to education. These riots were not a failure of education. Or is she and our other government leaders suggesting that it is the school's role to socialize our kids, a place to manufacture good citizens that don't cause a fuss, don't disrupt, get a good job, and pay their taxes while ignoring the inequities in our society? Blame kids, blame teachers, blame parents, blame anyone but themselves for this national disgrace. This wasn't a failure of education, it was a failure of society. The industrial approach to our education systems has turned our teachers into factory workers, replete with league tables and quality control measurements that ensure the productive forces of society are delivered to a set standard, whether this is a local examination that is in essence an arbitrary test of knowledge recall, or a more global set of metrics set by the equivalent of the Olympic Games Committee for National Wellbeing, i.e. OECD, and the ridiculous PISA that our respective political leaders get all excited about. The net effect is that teachers aren't rewarded for motivating or engaging learners, but are rewarded for motivating them to train, to jump through hoops and pass a series of assessments that are measurable but bear no relation to learning. The examination system identifies the best rule followers, but not the creative innovators who are the key to all of our futures. It doesn't matter how much technology we throw at education, and we have thrown a lot of it at education. Education won't change for the simple reason that our systems won't allow it. The technology we use is designed to reinforce existing practice for an education superstructure to design and support an obsolete economic foundation that is collapsing around our ears. Until we recognize this, we are fooling ourselves with our own good intentions. We talk of innovation, disruption, and transformation like they are positive things, yet our industrial-scale education systems are centralized around mediocrity. Good science, engineering, mathematics, art, creativity is all about anarchy and disruption. No anarchy, no innovation. Yet what education systems embrace disruption or disruptive thinking amongst its learners? We teach science and maths like they are dead languages like Latin. No wonder our learners are uninspired, unengaged, and unmotivated. And woe betide those who do disrupt. We prescribe them Ritalin for a made-up condition like ADHD, or we criminalize them in the case of online pranksters and hacktivists like Lulsec or Anonymous. But this is a global emergency. We have bigger problems to solve than the foolishness we read in our newspapers. We need an education system that actively encourages a new generation of creative innovators who can reinvent our future, and we need to let them do it.